today at moneytalkviewpoint.org and let someone help you. Well, my special guest for today is Ron Silberstein. Ron is also one of our co-hosts for Money Talk Viewpoint. Ron's a certified public accountant and a certified franchise executive. And I'm going to let Ron tell you all about what he does. Ron, can you give us some insight about you and how you got into the business?
Sure, Chantel, thanks, and happy to be here today. So, as you said, I'm a CPA and a certified franchise executive. And when I got into franchising, it was through the CPA firm. I had a client who bought a large golf store franchise company, and we were doing his audits. And then after a while, he talked me into leaving my CPA firm and coming in-house with them as CFO and chief admin officer. So that's when I started really learning a lot about franchising and falling in love with franchising. What I do now is I'm still doing some CPA work. I also have a startup franchise company called Bud's Place. We're franchising social cannabis consumption lounges. And I also still do some work with franchisors and franchisees, consulting with them, helping them decide. I've helped people decide whether, to buy a franchise or not. I've helped them negotiate franchise agreements. And then we work with some.
Now, this is going to be my last question, but I need to ask you this. What are some of the factors someone should use to evaluate a specific franchise opportunity?
Yeah, so great question. So one of the things, and I've got 5 or 6 things somebody should look at. So one of them is the operations of that concept. How does the franchise business operate? How does it make money? So that would be, one of the things to look at. How does it operate? How does it make money? And all the time you're looking at this kind of stuff, it's, you're going back to what your wants and needs and goals are. It may be a business that you just don't want anything to do with, no matter how great it is. You may not want to be in the restaurant business. You may not want to be in the cannabis consumption lounge business. You may not want, be in the pet business because you just hate pets, hate dogs, hate cats, hate, allergic to cats, fur, whatever. You may just not want to be in that kind of business. But you want to look at, how does it operate? How does it make money? Because a key is, how does it make money and how consistent is that revenue stream? Is it seasonal? If I'm going to operate, if I live in Chicago and want to have an ice cream store, or Detroit, an ice cream store, seasonal business, some people may want a seasonal business where it's only open, you buy a Dairy Queen, you're open from May to October, and then you can go to Florida for the winter and not have to worry about your Dairy Queen because it's closed. There's all kinds of things like that come into play with the how does it operate and how does it make money. Then you want to look at the franchisee's role. So what role is the franchisee expected to play in the operating business? Do I have to run it? Do I have to run everything in the franchise business? Am I the only one in that franchise business? Can I hire, how many people do I need to hire? Some people aren't good managing employees or don't want to have employees. So somebody may want to be, the only person at that business. You can buy a poop scoop franchise, be out there scooping poop yourself, buy a van, buy the equipment, do it all yourself if you want to do it all yourself. Don't have to worry about employees. Don't have to worry about any of that. So it's really what does that concept expect the franchisee's role to be, would be one of the things you're looking at when you're looking at a franchise opportunity. Like we talked about before, you want to look at the franchise experience of the people running that business. So it can be a new business, like we talked about before. but the people involved in that business have run a lot of franchises before, have a lot of franchising experience, and have been successful. So you're going to be looking at that. It may be a new business where the people behind it have no franchising experience. I had a client a few years ago who was looking at buying a French fry franchise. The people who had started up that franchise had no food and beverage experience, had no franchising experience. They had some business experience, and they had this idea for the French fry business. They had one store open, but we're looking at it and it's like, what kind of support can they give you? What kind of experience do they have in this business? Because you're going to be in bed with them for 5 or 10 years, and you want to make sure you last that long, and you want to make sure that when you're paying them a franchise fee and paying them royalties, that there's value they're adding, whether it's the brand name, whether it's, all their business experience, because they're back there behind you, helping you always do better and always improve on things. You want to look at the tenure, background, and commitment of the franchisor's leadership to make sure that you can get comfortable that these are the people that are going to take that franchise concept, to new heights, and keep it growing, keep it being successful, and keep adapting to changes in the market, things like that. And, they may not have had to do that yet, but you want to get a handle on them. Can I trust them? I'm making this big investment in their brand. Are they going to be there for me? Are they, is this brand better than the next brand? Because its leadership team is going to make sure I succeed, because they should be focused on the franchisees succeeding, because that's how the franchisor succeeds. And, you want to get a handle on that. You want to check into the franchisee engagement. So, and this comes from talking to the leadership of the franchisor, as well as talking to existing franchisees. Do they communicate with you? How often do they communicate with you? Are you satisfied with the communication you get from them? When you call them, does nobody answer the phone? Do they not call you back? Do they not answer emails? Things like that. And getting the answers that you don't expect. If you get answers, well, they don't communicate well, they don't respond promptly enough, that isn't necessarily a reason not to buy that franchise, because then it comes down to, can I succeed without a ton of help from them other than getting me open? Am I a good enough business person to where I can do those things on my own? Does it not bother me if I call them today and at 9 a.m. and don't hear back from them for a day or two? Some people don't do well with that. And, some people expect you to get back to them right away. Some are fine with if it's a day or two, or at least, do they get back to you in a reasonable amount of time, that works for you? And that's, so you're talking to the management team on how they operate, and then you're talking to existing franchisees to find out how satisfied they are with the franchisor leadership. You want to check out the financial health, of the franchisor, which may or may not be important. So, some franchisors, have great financial statements. They leave all the money in the system. They have a lot of cash. They can do, anything they want. Other franchisors, the owners take all the profits out, so they're always taking cash out, but they're strong enough, or either they're making a consistent amount of money every year, so it doesn't matter, that they're taking money out. You just really want to make sure they're going to be around in the future to do the things they need to do and to build the brand. And startups, may have not great looking financial statements because they're investing everything in the business and getting it built up and spending all their money to get it going. But it doesn't mean that once they have franchisees that are paying royalties and franchise fees and other things, that they're not going to be fiscally responsible and managed well and do fine, managing their business and with the cash. And then you want to look at their operational systems. How developed are the systems that they have? And because you're relying on those systems to run your business. And in a mature franchise, you're going to be able to find out everything you want to find out about their systems. In a startup or emerging, there may not be a lot of units out there yet, to where you can find out how well their systems are working. And then it really comes back to the management team and the leadership, and have they done it before? So that there's proof in other concepts that they were involved in that they had good operating systems and provided all the support that people needed, and that's, it's really, do enough due diligence so that when you make your decision, you're never going to second guess down the road. It's like, oh, I should have done that, or why didn't I do that? I mean, do everything you need to do when you're checking that system out, so that when you sign the franchise agreement and hand over that franchise fee check, there aren't things that you should have done that you didn't do. I mean, you never want to be second guessing down the road. I mean, you can do everything right and things can still go wrong. You just don't want to not do certain things that could have prevented these things from going wrong in the future.
Ron, you covered a lot of information, and I'm sure that anyone paying attention, particularly those who are looking or even considering a franchise, I think you covered a lot of information. How can people reach out to you? What's your contact information?
Sure. My cell phone is 248-302-3344. Anyone can call me or text me, let me know, or if they leave a voice message, let me know, where they found me or heard me, or in a text, let me know, how they found me, and I'll get back to them pretty quickly. They can email me at RONS at buds-place.com, buds-place.com. I respond to emails pretty quickly. In the subject line, it would probably help if they indicated why they were contacted me, or where they found me. I get a ton of emails, but respond to them pretty quickly. And anybody, I'm happy to talk franchising with anybody. I have a lot of contacts to where if somebody needs something, or needs a name, I can refer them to somebody else for help, or to a broker or franchise attorney, things like that. Happy to do that. I love franchising, in case you couldn't tell, or in case the listeners or viewers couldn't tell. I love franchising. I think it's a great business model. I think it's a great way, probably the best way for somebody to get into business, because of the lower risk and the ability to be part of a big brand. There's a lot of different opportunities in franchising. Even in mature industries like restaurant or pizza, there's always room, in my opinion, there's always room for a new pizza franchise or a new sandwich franchise. There's new ones starting up all the time that become successful. There's new ones that start up that don't become successful. It's all part of really risk reward, when you're getting into something new. So there could be, the latest, somebody has a new idea for sandwiches, and or it's the same kind of sandwiches other places have, but they've made the production process easier. They use robots in the kitchen. I mean, there's all different kinds of things. There's cookie franchises out there now that are competing with each other, that some of them do things similarly, some of them do things differently. And there's so many opportunities out there that I think there is a franchise for everybody, that they can find something that fits with what they're good at. Or, you know, the other thing we didn't really talk about is you don't have to have any knowledge of the type of business that you're buying. You don't have to have prior experience in that industry, because you're going to get trained. And, part of the talking with franchisees and investigating the management team is making sure that you're going to get what you think you're going to get, and that they're going to be able to train you to operate that business, and they're going to be there to support you when you have questions or run into problems, things like that. But I think there's a franchise business out there for everybody. They just got to make sure they find the right one for them.
Ron will be our co-host on upcoming shows for our small business, what we call the family-owned business for entrepreneurs, and look forward to talking to Ron. He can help you think through a lot of things. Ron, I appreciate you spending this evening with us to talk about franchises, and I look forward to talking to you next week when you're on the show.
Thanks, Chantal. Talk to you soon.
All righty, bye now.
Bye now.